I'm going to narrate some sparring with Kevin. We're starting out with a round of boxing. We'll follow with a round of Taekwondo rules sparring, and then a round of Muay Thai, followed by a round of MMA. And we finished with a round of grappling, but don't have a video of that, unfortunately. So again, Kevin coming with a looping, long lead jab and switching stance here. And switching stance again. And trying to establish my 1-2 right here. I've got a little bit of a reach advantage on Kevin, and a little bit of a reach advantage makes a big difference if you know how to use it. A lot of fighters, when they start out, have no idea how to use the reach. They don't know how to capitalize on it. Kevin's putting a little bit of spirit into his punches there. And that's fine. And a counter with my jab. When I box, I like to focus on counter striking. The counter jab and another counter jab. The jab is by far the most useful and versatile of punches. And Kevin loves the spinning back fist. He forgot for a moment he can't do that in boxing. But again, it's a good move that he likes to use. Just remember, kids, no spinning back fists in boxing. Now, as long as you keep the hand open inside the glove, you can go pretty close to full speed without risk of seriously hurting or damaging your partner, which is what we're doing right here. And open hands inside the boxing glove. It's a sparring method you can't use with an MMA glove, unfortunately, without eye gouging your training partners. But with a boxing glove, it works just fine. Great way to regulate power. Kevin establishing his jab, but I'd like to see him get a lot more straight on his straight right. Now, when I box, the position of my lead foot is paramount, absolutely paramount. If you understand the position of your lead foot relative to your opponent's lead foot, that is where you begin to understand your reach, whether or not you are able to hit your opponent or not. All right, now we take off the gloves. We're doing Taekwondo rules, meaning you can kick the body or you can kick the head. Now we're not wearing the hogu, the chest protector, just the shin guards. Now in WTF, I guess it's called World Taekwondo style instead of World Taekwondo Federation. Now, anyway, in World Taekwondo, you score, at least when I was competing, and this was a long time ago, man, like 20 years ago, you scored a point for a kick to the body, 2 points for a kick to the head. I don't know what the system is now, but a 7-point lead was an automatic win. A knockout was an automatic win. There's a side kick right there. No kicks to the legs. Punches to the body are allowed, but it's very difficult to score for a punch to the body unless you knock your opponent back or down. And so most Taekwondo players focus on just the kicks. And a lot of people ask, why is it that Taekwondo guys tend to have their hands down when they spar? That's a very good question, especially since kicks to the head are a viable option. I mean, you can get knocked out in this sport. And it's all about fakes and feints. See, when somebody goes for a head kick, they open themselves up for a counter. And good Taekwondo players are counter strikers. And so if you lower your hands, and you know what you're doing, to solicit a head kick from your opponent, especially if they're leading with a head kick, it's easy to see coming, especially if you don't have any punches or hand fighting to set that up. And you're not allowed to clinch in this sport, so just all kicks and occasional punches to the body. And so the urgency to keep your hands up to hand fight just isn't there like it is in boxing or kickboxing. But the fakes and the feints are so much more important. I noticed right away I'm not nearly as fast as I was in my early 20s with my kicks, so I've got to be smarter at age 40. At 20 years of age, man, it does make a difference. I find the turning back kick is one of the harder kicks to control when you're going light contact. It's easy when you're just throwing everything into it, but to throw light contact and still maintain the form, I find is difficult with that kick. And there's the end of the round. Now a round of Muay Thai. We put the headgear on this time because we are using elbows, and elbows will open up cuts since it is bone-on-bone contact with a thin layer of skin in between. And the headgear helps to prevent superficial damage from the elbows. So again, full Muay Thai rules. And when we change the rules, the strategies change quite a bit. At least my strategies do. Working into a clinch right here. I like clinch fighting. I like the short knees. I'm trying to get an elbow in there. There's one. And you don't need a lot of power or space or wind up to do significant damage with an elbow. Looks like Kevin did not like that clinch. Now it's important to make your opponent feel comfortable, because if they're scared to go where you want them to go, then they're not going to go there. So if you love to clinch and you make your opponent absolutely terrified of your clinch, they will do everything in their power to avoid that. Simple combinations work really well in Thai boxing. Jab, kick, lead hook, right kick to the leg. Follow up a round kick with a push kick. As far as a spinning back fist goes, 3 very simple rules that you must follow. A good setup, create an angle, and follow it up. Otherwise, it's just a big, wound up punch that is easy to see coming and easy to avoid. So you gotta set it up. And remember, with a setup, it's not a setup unless your opponent is unbalanced. Knock him back on his heels first. So a good stiff jab is an excellent way to do that. Now I just use the spinning back fist right there to move into a clinch. Not so much to land the back fist, but to drive into the clinch. It's a sneaky way to get in there. Another method I like to use to clinch with a guy who's squirrely is a flying knee. Flying knee right into the clinch. I'm not sure if I did that this round or not. We'll see. Now with the elbows and the headgear on, I would have liked to have done more clinch fighting, but again, Kevin's doing a decent job of staying out of the clinch for the most part. Let's grab into those kicks there. That was a great example of the setup, the follow through with the angle, and the follow through on the spinning back fist. Kevin caught a kick. I managed to balance. Some nice clinch work right here. A few knees. A lot of pressure. And Kevin escapes from the clinch. Back to boxing range. Counter the hook with a leg kick. Follow with the teep. A lot of times fighters will end their combination with a round kick, and by doing so, you often leave yourself open to a straight right counter. So I like to mix it up by following a leg kick with a teep. That's a push kick for those of you who don't know what a teep is. And that lead left head kick, man. That used to be my jam back in my Taekwondo days 20 years ago. But like I said, I used to be so much faster with that. I could pump that out about as fast as most people could throw a jab. But again, gotta fight smarter in my advanced age. That's a joke, because I really don't think 40 is that old. Some people do. And sparring with people half your age like this is, it shocks a lot of people, like, what? But he's in his 20s and you're 40, that's nuts. Getting back into the clinch. Kevin initiated the clinch this time, that's interesting. And that's the end of the round. All right, now a round of MMA, unified rules. Put on the grappling gloves, the MMA gloves. Now with the smaller gloves, you gotta be a lot more careful about the punches. Can't be quite as reckless. Countering a kick with a kick to the supporting leg. Nice check from Kevin. Shin checking the round kick. As a general rule of thumb, if I throw a jab and it just barely misses, throw another one with a falling step to close that gap. And a side kick. And parrying the kick into my own kick. A lot of people are confused why in MMA sparring, while I will often keep my lead hand down. Very similar reason to why I would do it in Taekwondo, as a fake or a feint, to get the other guy to start throwing something to the head so I know exactly where he's going to attack from. So if you know exactly how and where your opponent's going to attack, you know exactly how to answer that attack. I like to use a shell-style stance a lot in mixed martial arts. Roll those punches off with the lead shoulder. And if you understand your distance, you can do that without even getting clipped. Fire off jabs pretty quick. And now in MMA you can slam, but we're being nice to each other, so we're not slamming. Kevin likes to be really squirrely and work his open guard, trying for leg locks here. And I'm trying to get one of his feet on the outside of my hip here, so I can pass his guard more efficiently. And some body jabs to a body kick. And a 1-2. There's an elbow block. Somebody was asking me about elbow blocks. And yeah, you can totally block punches with elbows. It's a skill set you gotta practice at a lot, though. It's not something you can block every single punch with, but yeah, once in a while you can jam the point of the elbow into the fist there. And with the little gloves, that makes a big difference. And we caught that kick. Kevin jump guard again. The advantage of that, if you know you're on the way down, you might as well put yourself into the most neutral position you can be. Now, guard is not a neutral position in MMA, specifically because of the element of striking. Kevin's doing a decent job of framing here and spinning and rotating, working for that leg lock. And he's really close to it here, but I'm able to keep my heel on the floor so he doesn't have a shot at that straight ankle lock or a heel hook right here. But yeah, I really should be changing my position a little faster there. Okay, and we reset back up on the feet. Kick to the calf. People kick the quadricep almost exclusively, but yeah, you can totally kick the calf. It's a viable target. And I fake the overhand to get a body lock for a very controlled high dive takedown. Kevin's making that annoying frame with his left arm, not letting me get the control I want, so I switched to knee mount into full mount. Trying for a arm triangle, but Kevin blocks my attempt there, so I posture up into high mount. He comes back with the crazy legs, so I sprawl down into low mount, stay low so he can't get his feet in there. And those crazy legs, as stupid as it looks, it's a viable technique to remove somebody from full mount. So I switched to S mount, where crazy legs doesn't really come into play. Working for the arm lock, and I get the arm bar from the top. All right. Thank you for watching. Now get out there and train.